been a while since we've done a video together, so we're taking the opportunity today since the weather's nasty and we got a lot of what we need to get done yesterday.
Smoky.
So we're just going to hit on a few topics and go from there, I guess. Whatever comes up will come
Whatever
up.
comes up. So there's kind of a lot. I'll be honest, I haven't really followed a lot of the everything going on. I know there is a lot going on. I recently shared James O'Keefe is, I guess, got a somewhat of a movie or documentary coming out, Line in the Sand, supposedly revealing some corruption, saying that he thinks there's going to be some legal whistleblowers coming out in the coming months or weeks.
There's already been a CIA whistleblower come out and saying some of these things, and he's telling the American people to stock up on food, water, ammunition,
Yeah,
and
this
to pray.
was an ex-CIA intel person, and saying get 3 to 4 months food supply. If you're looking at what to stock up on, you need 3 to 4 months. So think of what dry goods that you can get. All your rice, beans, dried potatoes, or find something you like not, you don't need to just, that doesn't mean to survive on ramen noodles. It just means to think and inventory your pantries.
And keep in mind too, you will, if you're preparing for long-term food storage and you're not going to be using some of these things right away, they need to be repackaged. And I need to do that, put them in buckets with, or Mylar bags. And we really need to work on that. But just keep in mind, if you're going to do some longer-term food storage, the paper bags are not going to work. You're going to have to think about something else
You're worried about moisture.
Food.
You're worried about bugs. You're worried about anything, which, I mean, hopefully bugs don't come in, but you are wanting to keep it from multiple different things. If you got animals or anything around, you don't want anything getting into that. For us, listen, this honest truth is keeping an inventory and then keeping your kids out of it.
Yeah,
Understanding
that's a big issue.
that it's not free reign. If we stock up on some of the little
easy
things
foods
that we like, the easy grab and go or the snack type materials, is establishing that as a family and understanding that there's some of that we enjoy, and we enjoy the harvest and feast and enjoy the finer things, but then there's some of that we ration and we leave for later, and they need to understand that. So all of that's part of the experience that not everyone really talks about, but just do it as a family so that everyone's on board. It's a good way for your children to learn something different from the instant gratification that we're so often used to. So,
well, and keep in mind, when you're prepping, you're looking for those easy-made meals. You don't need, and everybody can be health conscious of some of the stuff that we have in the grocery store. On a daily basis, you need to know what you're ingesting. But if you're prepping for an emergency situation, canned soup, things that are quick, that's what you need to have on your mind as far as emergency preparation for food.
Yeah.
Nothing hard to heat up, nothing hard, that takes a lot of time to make, things like that.
So it's good. We're coming into the harvest season, so hopefully you've been canning and doing some of this food preservation for winter. So actually, this is a time of year where we're relatively stocked. I mean, we've hopefully canned and put back some of that produce that we've gotten. But then also, we've been through a season of drought. Now we've got rain.
Yeah.
Are you collecting any of this water? If you're into dried foods, freeze-dried or dehydrated, you're going to need water. And so are you collecting any water? Are you keeping that clean? Do you have a filtration system or a pump or a, whatever it is that you're into? But water is one that you need to think about, I think, constantly, because even if you collect the water, making sure you're not getting into a stagnant situation or any bacterial issues, because water storage is just as important as some of the food storage. So,
and I think it's one of those things that we take for granted. We can just turn on the faucet and there it is. And when we come into an emergency situation, or if there's a boil advisory or something like that, we don't really consider those things until we're already in the moment.
Or a power outage. We've already had some power flickering and stuff at our house with some of the storms that are moving our way from the hurricane down in the Gulf. And so, hopefully, which they're in a far different situation than we have been, but some of the storms are pushing north, and you lose the electricity. A lot of times you lose your water or your electric pump or your well or whatever it is. So you have to be thinking about that. Like,
even if you're not on city water or what have you.
That's right. Even if you're just self-sufficient, so to speak, how will you collect that? And so if you have water, but you lose your electric pump to move it from point A to point B, then what is your backup plan?
Right.
So plan A, plan B, plan C, and so a lot of important things there that I think we can think about. It's a time where we're already, we're starting to put into place all of our winter, more long-term things. We've gotten our rabbits moved in light of these oncoming storms. Put them in their winter hutch, and where they'll be for winter, moving livestock around, and getting our first time freshener, our heifer bred first time, and so just sort of getting some things in order that we'll be putting another beef in the freezer here before long, and two, very soon we'll be getting into the hives and robbing honey again. So it's that time of year. And actually, I generally like to wait till a little bit later, despite all of the rain. I don't know how that will affect the fall honey flow, but all the goldenrod has been in bloom for some time, so I think it will be good. And that's important for two reasons. You want to get your honey collection, and so that way you can have it stored and clean and have whatever, if you are going to make meat or something else, but also you want to reduce that space in the hive, because some would think, you can leave all the boxes, and you could, and that would leave them food stores, but they also have to heat that, and the bees have to maintain. So it's their time for downsizing, where it's best to reduce those additional honey supers. I leave 2 deeps or brood boxes that are preferably full of honey and brood. And then that way it's a good sustainable size and area for them, and food storage for winter. So that'll be really soon. And so there might be a forthcoming post or something if anyone is interested in joining along, especially if you've got a bee suit or you have some questions. We can walk through some things and go through the hive. I'm not sure how that will work timing-wise or schedule-wise, but it's something that we can talk about, or you can shoot us a message if you're especially interested in the beekeeping, because I know there's been a number of people have some questions before, and it's hard to just go out one by one to some of these other people's family's farm or their apiary. So we invite you to ours. We'll try to make that a forthcoming discussion, and hopefully get a few of you guys involved if you're interested in keeping bees, or you're relatively new, or you just want to kind of see what we do. Nothing super special. We don't have, I guess I might have 8 or so hives over there at this point. Still kind of rebuilding since a couple years ago we took a hard hit. But So just getting all those winter things. I mean, maybe y'all can drop in the comments things that, what are you all doing? What are you doing to prepare in light of the weather? What are you doing for, disaster readiness, or if some of this corruption and stuff does come forward, and it wreaks havoc in the political sphere, or what are you doing to prepare for winter? Because I'm not one who, we keep looking. We got some kiddos up here doing some chores, and they take advantage of the rain. They love getting out when it's nasty outside. That's the first place they go a lot of times, outside. But that's one thing I find interesting. We'll just give ear to it, that I think all of the corruption, it's ironic, some of these things that we've seen, frankly, years ago. Now 5 years ago, we saw some of these same things, the corruption, and it's ironic to us to see people come out with documentaries and clips and say, well, where have you been, is what we want to say, is why do you want to talk about it now, or why are you talking about rappers and things when you've got all these people still writing laws that are full of corruption, people that are heads of a lot of these organizations, people who are stepping down. And maybe some of this would come out. I pray for that. I think that the truth will come to light, and it's a good thing whenever it does. But more importantly, what does that mean for you and me and everyone else? You have anything to add? Mm-hmm. No? So I might mention, a lot of times people think that that's just an issue for conspiracy theorists, or it's an election year and they think, oh, this is the same, they're just stirring the pot and they're introducing new scandals in light of an election. And I agree. I think a lot of that is true, but what's also true is that it's very real. The corruption is real. The slave trade in the trafficking industry is larger than it ever has been, and I include the 1800s and the era of the Civil War or Reconstruction. The world has not seen slavery like we're seeing it today. The amount of numbers and the heinous level of criminal activity that is associated with it, the way in which it's protected and facilitated, and I could go on, but that doesn't help you on the homestead or within the home. And so something to realize is how to equip yourself so that you're not a target for corruption or for abuse or things like that, and especially with your children. So one of the things that building that family economy does, whenever you're building the homestead, you're working together and you're doing the chores, you're finding shared vision and goals with your family, with your spouse, and with your children, is by itself you're being insulated from all of those things. For one, it doesn't make you or your children a target, because you're a functioning team. And so you're a stronghold. You're not easily accessible to others, or you're not easily isolated from your group. You're established. And so for one, your children's not a target. Your spouse doesn't become a target. Not only this, but it insulates you from catastrophe that could come as a fallout if God is gracious and He reveals the corruption in our government. I believe it would be thoroughgoing enough to just bring our nation to its knees, because I am convinced of how pervasive that is within our nation. And that's one of the things. We had a discussion with our children just last night about, if we answer the question, well, why? We're spending so much time, we're cutting wood now, getting firewood ready, and we utilize some of the nice dry day that we had yesterday to get a jump on some of that. You say, well, with the money that we've spent on fuel and on oil and chains and chainsaws and all of the work and the time and the money that's invested, why do you do it? Couldn't you just afford to just buy a little bit of wood or buy that extra tank of propane? And a lot of times the answer is yeah. You could. It would be a wash on the money. You don't make a lot of money by cutting your own wood. You don't make a whole lot of money by growing a lot of your own food or anything like that. You don't get rich doing any of these things. However, that if the job market fails, you still have it. Mm-hmm. If the government fails, you still have it. Where the economy fails, you still have the resource. And so it's the way that we express that is we know that even though it was shared in the curse, the sweat, the labor, the toil of work was part of the curse. The work itself was not. And there's a promise, though, that's given, that when you eat by the sweat of your brow, is that there's an expectation that you will still have this. The closer that you're associated with the work, the food, the health care, this smaller economy within the home and a small interdependent community, there's a promise associated with that, a security, if you will, that doesn't depend on something outside of your home. And what I mean is this, is that security is popular in our culture, in our day. We want insurance of every kind: mortgage insurance, house insurance, auto insurance, life insurance, and even these are now highly adaptable. So if you lose your job, then there's an insurance to tap in for this, or if medical expenses are excessive, then your life insurance has a ER policy, and there's all of this overlap. But all of those are still highly dependent on workplace security, government security, economy security, and so their basis is on something outside themselves, and so it makes them relatively fragile. So that's what we say. You build that stability, and it comes in the work. It comes in the homestead. It comes when you're working with your hands, because it's the greatest resource you've got is your labor, your manpower. And so it's good, but insulate yourselves from that and do the homestead. And I'm going to give a little plug as well, is Stop Ministries. Here, I'm just going to show it to you. So I'm not sure if that will be forward or reverse in the final video. But if you haven't seen that or you're new, this is something that we started in 2019. And I was part of building a security system, a multi-tier security system and training with regard to a church and a preschool, things like that, and doing a lot of research. And I began seeing a lot of that corruption that they're talking about today, and that some of these leaks, or that James O'Keefe maybe is referring to, or will be referring to. I'm curious to see where all he gets to within his movie. But this cat. So, however, what we've done with Stop Ministries is it's basically a 3-level training for students in awareness, in defense, and in how to build their relationships. Now, that's the very important one, is the relationships. That's not what a lot of people are talking about. Even where there is awareness level training, that's generally as far as it goes. And so the way we've structured that is by developing an acronym on all of those levels. So whereas the ministry as a whole is Sex Trafficking Offensive Preparedness, STOP. So on the back of this bookmark that we have, we put a number, all of those areas with every one of the points of each area. If it's awareness, we want to train students 4 to 24 on the signs, types, occasions, and people that maybe are being trafficked or that looks like a scenario where abuse could be occurring. We train light defense, which utilizes, it's kind of like a reverse judo. It takes those implements on how to be effective in martial arts, and it tries to undo them for the purpose of escape, just to get away.
Well, and just to clarify, like this, like part of your curriculum has a lot more to do with preventing the action from actually happening,
right,
and not.
If we're successful, then nothing happens. There's no measurable data point or metric that we could say, oh, look, we've saved this many kids. No. If we do what we want, then families are happy, children thrive, students that go away to college are secure and have a good college experience and a fruitful education, or whatever their situation, or they can go on a family outing and not be fearful and everything else. And there's a lot more that can be said that I've invested in. The biggest point, though, that I've not seen in 5 years, I haven't really seen anyone focus on leveraging their training toward relationship building so that you do not become a target.
And
that's
a
that
good
last
point, is because
period.
having a strong family unit with mom and dad involved has prevented a lot of predators from even attempting.
They won't attempt. So here's how that works. And let me just say, so that last one, whenever you're building relationships, is shared, transparent, organized, and public. So those are just the snippets on what they would do. And the reason is this, is that you can learn things so that if you're being targeted, you can change that immediately in order to say, you can give a certain body language that would immediedI change your status as a target. Say, you're not somebody I want to go after anymore, if I was a predator, so to speak. So it's absolutely right. And so you can prevent that. Now, this is something that we offer for free, and we've been really happy that we've been able to partner with others. I know SWAT Ministries International. I know they've brought this into certain schools where they give their presentations stateside, though they train rescuers in Thailand. We've done some summer camps at YMCA's, things like that, and other private ones. We've had a lot of interest recently.
Yeah.
Which has kind of been pretty interesting, to say the least. But we offer it for free. We come out to your group, your household, your homeschool group, if it's a large family group, or anything like that. We've talked to people who do have children that's gone away to college, and others. And when I say 4 to 24, is there are things that a 4-year-old, I'm confident, can do, and you can train as a family to effectively escape and build safe relationships. And so anyway, so just, you can message us or something else, and we can come and do that.
Well, and it's important. We did have a Facebook page involving STOP Ministries, but the amount of shadow banding and things that we were experiencing, it wasn't a great resource for us to have a page or anything. So you can message us through the farm page on Facebook if you're interested in anything like this, or if you want more information or anything like that, and we'll try to help you out with those questions.
Yeah. So just connect with us. And she is right. We thought, like, man, I don't know why it doesn't get through, and we kind of sought counsel with some other organizations that were awareness level or defense level training, and I said, hey, we were talking about trafficking per se, because that fits into that algorithm that they want to get rid of or cover up, whatever way you want to look at it. But the thing about it is I said, hey, have y'all ever experienced any like shadow banning? Are you having trouble with your stuff getting out there? And they said, oh, absolutely, this is a hurdle that it's just almost impossible to overcome. And so that's why we just said, hey, we can't we can't bother with all of that. So it is largely word of mouth, but we've got some pretty hopeful scenarios that will allow us to get out there and train other students. And so a lot of great material, and it can be tailored. If you have someone that you're more worried about people as individuals, there's more tailoring that can be done to help you with this mindset, this offensive mindset. Obviously, man, you can get in any level of martial arts is going to give you a level of confidence. And that's not what we're trying to do, is start up all these different martial arts classes, but we are trying to help people build relationships and ultimately building that strong family economy the way that Rachel said. It's the best way you're doing all those things. You're giving a level of confidence and a camaraderie and a level of
It's really starting to come in.
team building. Yeah, the wind kind of changed a little bit.
And the hickory, if you don't, that's the hickory nuts falling out of our tree.
Yeah, we're not being shot up. We got
Yeah.
a hickory tree. It'll hit the roof of our chicken coop and garage.
So, and just, reiterating, you have to be proactive in this. And that starts in the home. And it's not just simply sitting and hearing somebody speak and talk about it, but it's about implementing those things within your own home.
Yeah, and practicing as a family. But it's just important because a lot of times, and that's what I think, even if they don't refute it and they see something for what it is, they say, oh man, this is so terrible, it's so corrupt. The first thing I can promise you is however dark you could imagine this issue, it's far worse. I promise you that. But number two is, even if you see it for what it is, a lot of people are left with the question, well, what could I do about it? And you feel helpless. Should you be afraid all of the time? And people maybe even enter a level of paranoia or think that they should maybe just get a concealed carrier things or mace or something, which may be a great thing for your application. But there is something you can do, and it is more organic, and it's something that insulates you in every way. So,
and if you're actively doing something, and this is just personal opinion, but when you're actively doing something, it kind of takes away that fear, and it takes away that anxiety, and it gives you some empowerment that something can be done, that you can prevent these things.
Well, that's the thing, and that's in any arena, right? If you're worried about the economy, there's a piece that comes alongside, cutting wood or canning, because you're convinced, like, I'm doing something, and my hands are at the plow. I'm set to work. And so this goes back to that promise of God that, He will work all things together for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purpose, or that you are working and sweating at the brow, and so you'll receive your food, raiment, and clothing. But it's not sitting here waiting on good things to happen and twiddling thumbs or saying that, oh, well, God would never let that happen. Listen, there are terrible things, and there are people that I think do want to devour the home, families, and Christians, those who are set at work, seeking that quiet and peaceable life. And you can have it, and it's a sweet thing, so that you don't have to be afraid of what comes, though it is frightening. So it's something to talk about, and I think it was worthwhile. Just remember that you're not going to find the website or anything. I've thought about re-upping that, but it's just, that's an uphill battle for us. But in the meantime, you can definitely just find that Stop Ministries, and just message us, and we'll get you scheduled. And like I said, free event. We've accepted donations in the past, and there's been those who have sponsored those workshops in different areas, and so we're thankful to each of those who have done that in the past. But also just letting you know that if things roll out, or you've heard these things before about the corruption, realize there's something you can do, and we're willing to partner with you guys in that regard, and show you how you don't have to fear what's frightening, and so you can sit on your porch and enjoy the storm as you watch it rolling in, so
Well, I mean, and change really starts in the home.
change starts in the home. That's a good point. Good point. So aside from that, I don't have anything else, but if y'all have got something that you all do to prepare on any of these fronts, preparedness doesn't have it's hard to place that in a topic of its own because it's so widespread, but or if there's something you'd like to hear more, that we mentioned water. What are you doing for water collection, water supply, water storage, water treatment, water filtration? What are you doing? And so we can do more in that regard. We can do more on some of the defense level talks or whatever. But anyway, we look forward to hearing from you guys, talking more, and again too on the beekeeping, anything like that, because we just try to open ourselves to a level so that we can hopefully come alongside others who are doing some of the same things, and we can learn from one another. We've got a lot of friends who've joined us, and they bring a lot to the table, and we enjoy learning from them. So it's really just providing that community so that you can do that and have that, and it's the same if you're going to can or you're going to freeze dry. It can be expensive getting into that, unless you have those heirloom items from grandma or grandpa. Then in that community, you can go in and make that cheaper. You can share some of those goods or find that person who already has something, and so that way you can get involved without incurring all the cost if it's too much.
It's about building up.
Yeah, build up. Leave an inheritance for your children, So don't. But I would say don't worry so much. It's not a side hustle. We're not looking at making more money. I don't view money as a form of self-sufficiency. I just don't.
Some may.
Some may. It's a tool. It's a tool that you can use. I make money, but the money again relies on an economy separate from the home, separate from what is inherent to our home. It doesn't grow on trees, and nor does it sprout from the ground. So there's more. That's never, nor has it ever been considered the resource. It's only a currency, and so we keep it what it is. So unless you got anything else, I'm done.
Well, I hope you all stay dry, and we've been praying for those that are in the path of what remains of Hurricane Helene, and we'll just catch you on the next video.